All right, let's talk about one of the most important and maybe one of the most misunderstood roles in any company today, the product manager. What is it that they actually do? We're going to demystify it.
You ever think about this? You see a product that's just brilliant, an app you love, and then a year later, it's gone. Meanwhile, another one comes along and completely takes over, becoming a part of our daily lives. What is the difference maker? Well, a lot of the time it comes down to one single, surprisingly common mistake. This right here is the silent killer of so many great ideas. Companies can spend millions, even billions of dollars and countless hours building these complex, amazing products that in the end don't really solve a problem for anyone. And this is the exact challenge that the role of product management was created to solve. So let's bring in the hero of our story, the product manager, or PM, as you'll often hear. Their entire job, their whole reason for being, is to make sure the team is building the right thing. So what is a PM, really? Well, at its core, a product manager is the ultimate connector. Think of them as living at the intersection of three different worlds: what the customer actually needs, what the business is trying to achieve, and what's technically possible to build. Their mission is to find that perfect sweet spot where all three of those circles overlap. I love this way of thinking about it. The PM is often called the CEO of the product, but here's the catch. They don't actually manage anyone. They're not the boss of the engineers or the marketers. Instead, their leadership comes from influence. They have to orchestrate this whole symphony of people to drive the product towards its vision and, hopefully, success. A PM's world is a constant balancing act between these three huge forces. If you push too hard on the technology without really understanding what customers need, you end up building something technically impressive that nobody uses. Or if you only focus on the business goals, you might hit your numbers this quarter but end up alienating your users. The PM's job is to keep that balance every single day. But here's the thing. Being a great PM is about way more than just a job title on LinkedIn. It's a very specific way of thinking. This is their real superpower, what we call product thinking. This example just nails the difference. Feature thinking is reactive. It's just checking a box. Users are asking for dark mode? Okay, let's build dark mode. But product thinking goes so much deeper. It asks that all-important question, why? Why do they want it? Is it really about reducing eye strain at night? Or maybe it's about saving battery life on their phones? You have to understand the root problem to build the best solution. You can actually break this whole mindset down into 4 simple but incredibly powerful questions. A good PM is asking these constantly. They always start with the problem, not the solution. They get obsessed with who the customer is. They define what a win actually looks like, and they figure out how to measure it. It's a framework, really, to make sure you're not just staying busy, but you're actually creating real value. Of course, having a great mindset is one thing. But what do you do when you're just flooded with amazing ideas from customers, from your boss, from your own team? Well, a PM's daily reality is having way more good ideas than time or money. And that leads us to their most important skill. I love this analogy. When patients are rushed into an ER, the doctor doesn't treat them first come, first served, right? Of course not. They perform triage. They have to instantly assess the urgency and the impact of every single case to decide who needs help right now. Product managers have to do the exact same thing, but with ideas and features. The rules are pretty straightforward, but man, are they hard to follow. You have to figure out what the biggest, most painful problems for your customers are. Then you focus all your precious resources on the things that will have the biggest impact. And maybe the hardest part, you have to get really comfortable saying no to good ideas that just aren't the most important idea right now. And all of this forces you to focus on a really critical distinction: outputs versus outcomes. An output is just activity. It's the stuff you did. We shipped 15 new features this quarter. Great, you were busy. But an outcome? That's the result. User engagement went up by 25%. See the difference? Great PMs are absolutely obsessed with outcomes, not just outputs. So this all sounds good in theory, right? Let's see how it actually works in the real world. The early story of Airbnb is just a masterclass in this kind of thinking. So way back in the beginning, Airbnb had a huge problem. People were coming to the site, they were browsing, but they just weren't booking stays. The team dug in and they realized that the listings with terrible, blurry, low-quality photos were the ones that just weren't converting. Trust was at 0. Now, a feature-thinking, output-driven team would have said, oh, I know, let's build a fancy new photo editing tool for our hosts. But the Airbnb team asked that deeper question. What is the real problem here? And the problem wasn't a lack of editing tools, it was that the hosts just weren't very good photographers. So they made a bold, outcome-driven choice. They literally hired professional photographers and sent them to hosts' homes. The result was immediate and absolutely dramatic. Bookings skyrocketed in the cities where they offered this service. Think about that. They solved the core problem directly, even though the solution wasn't scalable or even a piece of software. They focused on the outcome, and it paid off big time. So how can you start using this powerful mindset? The cool part is you don't need the title of product manager to start thinking like one, starting today. Here are the key things to remember. Always, always focus on the result, not just the activity. Lead people by building trust and a shared vision, not by telling them what to do. Get out of the office and actually talk to your users. And this is a big one. Fall in love with the problem you're solving, not your first idea for a solution. And never forget, deciding what not to do is just as important as deciding what to do. And really, that's what this all comes down to. This whole way of thinking isn't just for building apps. It's a framework for solving any problem, big or small. So I'll just leave you with this question. Looking at the world through this new lens, what's the first problem around you that you're going to solve?